Hi there, welcome to Ben's Voice Narrative. Today's class is going to sound a little argumentative, but relax, it's not as hard as it sounds. However, this is going to be a class of truth, in that we're going to understand the right way or the right place to place the articles in the English language. You should understand that before now, or for some time now, we have textbooks in the English language as well as fellow English language teachers who believe that articles in English language should be classified as standalone parts of speech. The implication of that is that these textbooks or these English language teachers believe that there are 9 parts of speech in the English language. Again, the implication of that is that articles in the English language are to be placed as the 9th item on the list of the parts of speech. Whether or not that is correct, we are going to find out in this class. The main focus in this class is to understand whether or not articles are indeed standalone parts of speech or are subsidiaries or subcategories of other parts of speech. Now let's get to the class. The topic is articles. Articles in the English language. Of course, we have 3 examples of articles in the English language. The first is a, we have the and we have article the. To understand whether or not articles are indeed standalone parts of speech in the English language, we need to understand the definition, the meaning, and the function of articles. Once we can do this, we can understand the meaning, the function, and the description of articles, then it will be easier to place articles where they belong. Now, what are articles in the English language? Articles in this case are small words that modify a noun, or words that modify nouns in general. The problem will stem from the meaning of the word modify. What does the word modify mean? Well, let me put the definition on the board. Articles are small words that modify nouns in English, helping to indicate the reference of the modified noun, of the modified nouns. So articles are words, small words in the English language that help to modify nouns. And I think the big word here will be the word modify. What does the word modify mean? The word modify means to come before and describe. To come before and describe. So modifiers, nouns. Modifiers are words that come before a noun and describe and explain a noun. So whatever comes before a noun and describes the noun and explains and gives more information about a noun is a modifier. Whatever comes before a word and talks about the word and describes the noun and describes and explains the noun or explains a word is a modifier. So let's come to this place and let's go back to the definition. It says articles are small words that come before nouns, that precede nouns, and describe nouns and explain nouns in English, helping to indicate the reference of the modified nouns. What does that mean? Modifiers are words that come before nouns. They tell us more, they explain more about nouns. Now that we've established that, let's understand what is important about modifiers. Apart from coming before nouns, Their primary function or responsibility is to describe the noun, is to explain a noun, is to point out a noun, is to give more detail about a noun. In the English language, in the parts of speech, the 8 parts of speech that we have, there is a class, a word. There is a part of speech that explains, that describes, that modifies, that gives more information about a noun. And that part of speech is the adjective. Adjective. The adjective is a class of word, is a part of speech that describes, that modifies, that gives more information about a noun. Adjectives can come before and they can come after. The only class of word that comes before a noun and describes a noun is an adjective. Whatever it is, the word that comes before a noun and points at a noun and points to a noun, describes a noun, gives more information about a noun, is an adjective. And here we're seeing that articles are small words. They're words that modify, that come before nouns and describe a noun. Whatever modifies describes, whatever modifies explains, whatever modifies gives more information. So this definition already points us that points us to the fact that articles are subsidiaries of adjectives. And that, of course, is the reality. The articles are adjectives. Articles are adjectives. So we can rephrase or reframe this definition to mean the articles are types of adjectives. Articles are types of adjectives that come before a noun and describe a noun and modify a noun and give more information and explain a noun. That is what articles are. They are types of adjectives. We have different types of adjectives. We have demonstrative adjectives, we have determiners, we have possessive adjectives, we have quantifiers, and the likes. Articles are a class or a subsidiary of the descriptive adjective. However, inside descriptive adjective, we can also we can subgroup articles as part of determinants, in that they really don't tell us about qualities of the nouns that they describe. Rather, they point to reference. They point to limited features of the nouns being modified. They tell us about number. They tell us about the specificity or the generality of the nouns being described. I'm going to break that down. So let's establish this again. The articles are only parts or examples of adjectives, which makes it impossible for articles to stand alone or to be considered as standalone parts of speech in English language. So I think already you understand that there are only 8 parts of speech in the English language. Articles are never to be considered as the 9th element on the list of the parts of speech in English language. Okay, let's continue with the class. So articles are small words that come before. Articles are adjectives that come before a noun in English and helping to indicate reference of a noun that is being modified. So what are the functions of articles in English language? First of all, articles help to modify. They help to describe. They help to point at nouns. They point to nouns. Also, with the help of articles, we can know whether an item being talked about is specific or is a general term. Okay, so what are the examples of articles? We have 3 examples of articles in the English language. The first is a, we have an, and then we have article the, known as there. A and there. Also, we have 2 kinds or 2 divisions or 2 types of articles in the English language. We have what is called the definite articles, definite article, definite article, and 2, we have indefinite article. In a sec, let's arbitrate this and make the board a little clean. So, the definite article and the indefinite article. We start with indefinite article and the definite article. The first, indefinite. You might want to start with definite, it doesn't matter. Indefinite article. And two, definite article. Now, the indefinite articles are a and the and, these two. The definite, we have the the. There. Now, let's start with indefinite articles. The indefinite articles a and an have their own function, which is the function of these two is to show a general or to represent or modify general information. Every time a comes before a word or before a noun, every time the and comes before a word or before a noun, you should know that the noun being talked about is a general term. Is a term that is not specific. Okay, so how do we use a? Article a, which is an indefinite article, is an article that comes before a word that begins with a consonant sound. A word that begins with a consonant sound. While an is an indefinite article that has to describe, that has to modify any word or that comes before any word that begins with a vowel sound. Let's have examples. I had a bag. I have a bag. Bag is the noun. It begins with a consonant sound. So a comes before bag because bag begins with a consonant sound. So this is how this operates. And then we have two. I have an orange. I have an orange. An orange. Why do we have an before orange? Orange here begins with a vowel sound o. So this is how this works. Now, every time that we have a come before a noun, the noun is general. It's not specific. General. And again, it means talking about one item. So the articles show number. They show number. Indefinite articles show number, and the number that they show is a single or solitary item. Okay. And also, when we use the indefinite articles, it means that the information we're talking about is not only general, but we're mentioning such information or such idea or such word for the very first time. Every time you want to talk about something that is not known to people, for the first time, you want to talk about them, the article that you use is the indefinite article, either of a or an. Okay, depending on what begins the word, whether the word begins with a vowel sound, or if it begins with a consonant sound, you use a. If it begins with a vowel sound, you use the article an. Remember that these indefinite articles show number, and the number that they show is one. Call me a boy in the class. Call me a boy from that class. Call me a boy from that class. A boy, one boy. And if I say call me a boy, let's have the other example. 3. Call me a boy in that class. In that class. When I say call me a boy in that class, what you're going to do is go to that class and call any boy. What this means is any boy, not a specific boy. I'm not saying call me so and so. I'm just saying go into that class and call me anybody, any boy that you see, any boy, just one of them. Don't call me 2, don't call me 3. That is the function of the indefinite article a and an. Every time you use them, it means you're pointing to one item. One item that is general. Okay, so it comes with no name. And you use them when you're talking about an item for the very first time. Good morning, sir. A man or a customer asked after you yesterday. A client asked after you yesterday. A client asked after you. Which of them? I don't even know. I'm saying a man. A client is general. Their information is general. Okay, he wants a job. He wants a job in my company. In my company. My company. Okay, he wants a job. Not specific. whether it wants to apply as a janitor, or as an MD, or as a sales rep. A job, not specific. That is how that you use the indefinite article a and an. Remember, you use a before nouns, before words that begin with consonant, sound, not consonant letters, and then you use and before words that come before words that begin with vowel sound. An example would be an hour, an hour. This is not an H. Of course, this is an H, but H is a consonant letter, but in this word, it's a silent vowel sound. It's silent, okay? So that's why you say an hour or an hour, an hour. The H here is silent. All right, so let's go to the second type of articles, which is the definite article. The definite article is a type of article that talks about item or nouns that you're familiar with, or nouns that have been spoken about before. Nouns that the listener already has an idea of or has an idea about. Let's have examples. Sir, the client asked after you. Asked after you. Sir, the client asked after you. Sir, the client. When I say the client, if you're speaking with an individual, you're speaking to someone, and you use the article there. Every time that you use this before a noun, it means that the noun you're talking about is known. Is known to the listener. That is why this article THE is described as a definite article. Now, the definite article can be used before words that begin with either a vowel sound or a consonant sound. Look at this. Their client. Their client. This is a consonant sound. Now, if I say Dad, the orange is on the table. Full stop. Dad, the orange is on the table. The orange. You can see that this article is coming before orange, and orange begins with a consonant. Orange begins with a vowel sound. Vowel sound. So that is a very important information to note about the definite article THE. It comes before words that begin with consonant sound. It comes before words that begin with a vowel sound. Also, every time that you use the article, the definite article, it means that the person you're talking to already knows what you're talking about. Now, let me talk about the incident that happened yesterday. When I say the incident, it means that you that I'm talking to are aware of the incident that happened the day before. Are we clear with that? Okay, so let's have sentences or sentential examples where we have both the definite and indefinite articles being used in sentences. 1. A man asked after you today. Okay, let's say after you earlier, full stop. A man asked after you earlier. The man said he needed some help. I told Now, what this means is I told the man. You understand? Now, a man asked after you earlier, full stop. The man said he needed some help. I told the man. I told him. Now, look at this example already gives us the functions and how to use both the definite and indefinite article. Every time you want to begin a piece of writing and you want to describe a noun, you want to talk about a subject, the best way to start is to start from general to specific. Article A, Article M, Article A, Article M talk about general information that the listener does not have a prior knowledge of, does not have an idea of before. That is what Article A, the indefinite article a and do. And once you already establish that, after you've talked about the unknown, the next time you want to talk about that same item, then you go to the definite article. Because by the time we switch to the next sentence here, the man said he needed some help. Which man are we talking about? The man here. Are we clear? So the definite article is a step further from the indefinite article. Before we wrap up this class, let's understand that articles are examples of adjectives and never a standalone class of parts of speech. There are only 8 parts of speech in the English language, and in another video I'm going to be explaining everything that you need to know about the English parts of speech. But for now, you understand that articles are small words that help to modify nouns in the English language. And what are modifiers? Modifiers are words, adjectives that come before nouns and explain and describe and get more information about the noun. So articles are examples of adjectives. They're examples of adjectives. They don't stand alone as the ninth element on the parts of speech. I hope you've learned something really insightful in today's class. If you have, go ahead and click on the like button, subscribe to this channel if you haven't, and make sure to share this content with as many English language teacher that you know. Thank you all for staying tuned to the very end. See you in the next class. Bye for now.